What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Nash here. Welcome back to the channel. Why do I do this to my camera? Why? There we go. Finally, fine. I don't know why I always do that to my camera where I have it like this, but I should have it like that. I don't know why. I don't know why I do that. But anyway, guys, sorry about that. Once again, what's up, YouTube? It's your boy Nash here. Welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we got some more new cards coming out of the brand new Prismatic God Box. Which are basically ishizu's cards, which I'll be talking about in just a moment. But another thing that I also want to bring up as well is also the new cards coming out of the Premium Pack 21, which the cards are so interesting. They are really interesting, and we also have a new archetype as well. I guess some sort of like doll archetype or something like that. And also another archetype coming out of Lightning Overdrive called Amazement and Attractions, which is very interesting. And I'm also going to be bringing up the reprint, some of the other reprints that will also be in the Prismatic God Box as well. So let's talk about the new cards in the Prismatic God Box. These cards are actually cards from ishizu Ishtar, in which, if you guys don't know, she used so many different cards. There were several cards that she used in her deck, and this was actually one of them. The monster card Zolga. Now Zolga, I guess, has a new form, and it's called Zolga the Prophet, which honestly the artwork looks absolutely amazing. So it's basically a strategy to stop god cards, basically. So it's called Zolga the Prophet. It is a 4-star Earth attribute fairy effect monster with 1700 attack, 1200 defense. You can both of its effects are once per turn each. Its first effect says, if you control an Earth fairy other than Zolga the Prophet, you can special summon this card from your hand. Then look at up to 5 cards from the top of each deck. So essentially, again, it's essentially like a Cyber Dragon, where if you it's basically a double summon with legs, basically. So it's pretty cool. And you're also able to look at the top 5 cards from both I think from your deck and your opponent's deck. I think is what it's trying to say. And then its other effect says, when a monster normal summoned by attributing this card declares an attack or attacks, you can banish this card from your grave, destroy that monster, and if you do, inflict 2,000 points of damage to your opponent. That's a lot of damage that's being dealt to your opponent. That's actually really good. So what's cool about this card is that you can banish you can basically Cyber Dragon this card from your hand, and then you basically get to Dark Magical Circle. You know the top 5 cards from your deck and your opponent's deck, and have a look at them. So basically, you get an idea of what your opponent is going to be doing within the next couple of turns. That way you can go full combo and essentially force your opponent to not play Yu-Gi-Oh! Basically, and then also deal damage to your opponent in the process, which honestly is not too bad. But the next one here, we have Millennium Seeker, which is kind of interesting because in the background of the card, it says it actually has the Millennium Scale, so it kind of looks like Shoddy. If you guys remember Shoddy from the original Duel Monsters anime, the guy on the card has the same attire as Shoddy from the anime. I'll show you guys. So if you guys notice, he kind of looks like Shoddy a little bit in a way. So that's actually kind of cool. I like that artwork. But again, the name of the card is Millennium Seeker. It is a 4-star dark spellcaster with 1,000 attack and defense. Both of its effects are once per turns. When you take 1,000 or more battle or effect damage, you can special summon this card from your hand. So again, it's a Cyber Dragon effect, but the cost is that you have to take at least 1,000 points or more of battle or effect damage. So it's kind of unfortunate, but obviously too with today's Yu-Gi-Oh! It's more so about effect damage, so you're basically you're going to be taking quite a bit, which this card does come into play. And then its other effect says you can target a monster in your opponent's grave that does not have question mark attack points. So basically cards like Slifer or basically cards like Slifer or even also Raw as well. Your opponent can choose one monster from their deck that does not have that type of attack, but if they do not choose a monster, or if that target's attack is higher than the chosen monster's, special summon that target to your field. Also, shuffle their chosen monster, if any, back into the deck. Otherwise, your opponent adds their chosen card to their hand. So it's kind of unfortunate because it's basically a reverse Rhoda. It's a reverse Rhoda. So your opponent has no choice but to take a monster from their deck that doesn't have attack points that have a question mark on it. If they do, but it says here again, if they don't choose a monster, or if the monster's attack is higher than their chosen monster, then that target in question gets summoned to your side of the field, which is pretty unfortunate. But honestly, not too shabby. I probably wouldn't play this, just because you don't want to see just because of the fact that you don't want to see your opponent add cards to their hand by your effect. That's like the only downside, which which is pretty stupid in my opinion. Alright, you guys, now for the other we do have some of the other reprints that are going to be in the Prismatic God Box, and also the supplies as well, they're going to be inside of it. So the reprints, we have Silent Swordsman, we have Silent Magician, and I'm talking about the Silent Monsters, the two that were in Duelist Pack Rivals of the Pharaoh, which had the 4-star version of Silent Magician and also Swordsman as well. So that's pretty cool. Giga Ray's Gandora, the Dragon of Destruction, Toon, Dark Magician Girl, Mystical Beast of Circuit, Monster Reborn, Gold Sarcophagus, Silent Sword Slash, Silent Burning, Temple of the Kings, and Eternal Soul with a card display case. So you get a card display case, which I think you can actually get a God card in it. So I'm not so sure, but you also get 3 different box designs you can get. So each design basically has one for Raw, one for Slifer, and one for Obelisk as well. And then you also get oversleeves, which I guess they're like giant sleeves for the jumbo cards, I guess. I don't know. And then of course regular sleeves, which you can get Slifer, Obelisk, and Raw. So that's actually pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I love it. Knowing somebody like Cyber Knight, if you guys have seen Cyber Knight's channel, he'll open up anything. He'll open up anything that is Yu-Gi-Oh related, whether it's Korean or anything else. He'll do it. He will do it. So, but that's just him, and I think that's awesome. All right, you guys. So if you guys remember the archetype known as the Wicked Gods, They were basically the counterpart to the Egyptian god cards. And we have a card that basically works with the wicked gods. It is a normal spell called Divine Evolution. This card's activation and effect cannot be negated. So you cannot use Solemn Judgment. You can't use anything on this card, which is stupid. Literally. Choose one monster you control that hasn't already had the effect of Divine Evolution applied to it, whose original type is Divine Beast, or whose original name is the Wicked Avatar, Dreadroot, or Eraser, and if you do, it gains 1,000 attack and defense. Also, its effects activations cannot be negated. Also, its activated effects cannot be negated. Also, it gains this effect. When it declares an attack, you can make your opponent send one monster they control to the graveyard. So, basically, it basically says that... Basically, it just says, fuck you. Literally, your opponent can't negate card effects, nothing. It basically just says, fuck you. It has fuck you written all over it. It's that stupid. And I don't even know. You know what? Comment below. Post in the comments below. I don't know anything about this, but if there is a deck recipe, so to speak, for the Wicked Gods, let me know in the comments below because I'm very curious. I've heard a lot about them. I've been tempted to build them for quite some time. So if there is a deck out there that uses the Wicked Gods, let me know in the comments below. I might build it. And then like put my own spin on it. But yeah, so that's one of the new cards. Another one as well is coming out of GX. Jim Crocodile Cook is finally getting his cards printed once again. This one is called Flint Kragger. It is a 3-star Earth attribute rock monster with 800 attack and 1600 defense. Both of its effects are once per turn each. If this card is special summon, you can discard one card, and if you do, send a Fossil Fusion monster from your extra deck to the graveyard. So it's basically a Extra Fool's Burial with legs. That's what it is, basically. If this card is sent from the field to the grave, you can inflict 500 damage to your opponent. Then, if Fossil Fusion is in your grave, you can return one of your banished Fossil Fusion or one card that specifically lists it in its text to the graveyard. I'm not saying anything more about it except that it's just stupid. The effect is just that stupid. I don't even... Wow. Honestly, I'm sure as hell glad that they had printed this card now. Because if they printed if they printed all of the fossil cards during the GX era, all these cards would have been banned. All these cards probably would have been banned because you're sending Fossil Fusion, you're sending a Fossil Fusion monster from your extra deck to the graveyard. That's an Extra Fool's Burial. You're basically and the cost is discarding a card from your hand. So you could basically send one of your fossils from your hand to the graveyard, send one of your fusion monsters from your extra deck to the graveyard, activate Fossil Fusion, and then go into another fossil from your extra deck, which is absolutely stupid. And then, of course, too, you're dealing 500 points of damage to your opponent. And you're basically using the effect of, and you're basically using what's that one? Doomsday Horror. Basically, it's a Doomsday Horror, so to speak. So any cards that were in there that were banished go back into your graveyard. That's what this card is, which is absolutely stupid. Absolutely stupid, but it's incredible. It's incredible. So we have, speaking of GX, we can go into a card for 5Ds, and I believe this has to do with the manga, yeah. So we have a new one here called Void Cauldron, and it is a continuous trap card, and it's actually for Infernities. So it's a card used for Callan Kessler from 5Ds, which is pretty cool. If an Infernity monster or monsters and or a level 8 Dark Dragon Synchro you control would be destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can banish one Infernity card from your grave instead. So it's basically it's a continuous trap version of Return of the Dragon Lords, where you can banish one of your dragons and you can negate an attack, and you can stop the attack instead, which is stupid. And then its other effect says, if you have any cards in your hand, send this card to the graveyard. So when you draw your card, you have to just play it. You have to play it right away during your turn. Otherwise, at the turn's end phase, the card gets sent to the graveyard. So that's just nutty. That is just nutty. Like, really good. Alright, you guys. The 21 Premier Pack actually has a new archetype. And how many cards do I have to talk about? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there's only 4 cards. All right, so it's basically a doll archetype, so to speak. So we have 2 normal monsters and a 1 effect monster and a spell. So the first normal monster here is Doll Monster Miss Modchin. It's a 4-star Light Fairy normal monster with 0 attack and defense, and its flavor text says, "Welcome to our home, Cologne, Grandpa Demeto, and lots of other dolls live here." Okay. The other one is Doll Monster Bear, 4-star Wind Beast normal, 0/0, 0 attack and defense. Flavor text says, "Even if we get so roughed up we nearly break, it's okay. Grandpa Demeto will fix us right up." And then of course we have Grandpa Demeto, a 1-star Dark Spellcaster with 0 attack and defense. And both of its effects are once per turn. You can detach 1 material from your Princess Cologne. I think I get it now. Okay, so it has something to do with Princess Cologne. If you guys remember Princess Cologne, it was released in Number Hunters, I believe, as a secret rare, if I remember right. Okay, now I get it. Special summon up to 2 normal monsters with 0 attack or defense from your grave as level 8 dark monsters. That's just stupid. That is just stupid. If your Xyz monster activates an effect by detaching a material or materials that was originally a normal monster, you can target that Xyz monster and a monster your opponent controls, destroy that opponent's monster, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to that Xyz monster's rank times 300. Literally, you're dealing damage to the point where your opponent loses. That's just stupid. And then the continuous spell, we have Doll Happiness. You can only activate 1 card with its name per turn. When this card resolves, you can add one Grandpa Demeto or Box of Friends from your deck to your hand. It's a Rhoda. It's basically a Rhoda. Monsters your opponent controls cannot target monsters you control with 0 attack or defense for attacks while you control Princess Cologne. So basically, this card works as a jam defender, but in spell form, which is pretty cool. And then once per turn, third effect says once per turn you can destroy a monster you control or in your hand, and if you do, send 1 doll monster from your hand or from your deck to the graveyard. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except Xyz monsters. So basically, if you're running like Lynx and Synchros and whatnot, it locks you out of those, but it locks you in of Xyz monsters. So you have to constantly summon all of you're basically summoning now summoning out your Xyz monsters rather than your links and whatnot. Honestly, this archetype is just. I think this archetype is pretty gimmicky. It'll probably just be like for like locals or something like that. But knowing Yassine, or I guess Team Samurai X1 and his friend Yassine, shoutouts to them. Basically, they're going to make it so it's competitive. They always do. They always do. Alright, you guys, and the last two things here. So the reprints that we have here, there's three. So the other three reprints in the God Box are Defusion, Polymerization, and Rebellion, which is a quick play spell, basically targeting one of your opponent's monsters, and basically forcing your opponent's that monster to attack your opponent directly. I think is what was the effect. But we have another archetype here called Amazement and Attractions. So I'm gonna try and go through these as quickly as I can. Oh, there's a lot of them. Okay, you know what? I think I might do this for Friday's video. Yeah, so you know what? Yeah, so disregard this one. I'm gonna do this for Friday's video, just because there's too many of them. But yeah. So let me go back. There was something else I wanted to bring up for today's video. What was it? Oh, right. So sunavalon. So if you guys remember the archetype sunavalon that I mentioned, we basically have support for them, and there's only a few cards, so I'll try and talk about them as quickly as I can. So we have sunavalon Malias. It's a link 3 Earth Plant Link with 0 attack, and its link readings are left, top, right. So basically Heat Leo, I think, something like that. And it requires 2 or more plant monsters, including a link monster. If this card is link summoned, you can special summon one Sunseed Genius Loki from your graveyard. Basically, it's a monster reborn. I ain't saying nothing else about it except monster reborn. Cannot be targeted for attacks, but does not prevent your opponent from attacking you directly. Bruh. Basically, this card allows your opponent to bypass this card and attack you directly, which is stupid. Once per turn, you can target one of your Sun Vine Link monsters. This card points to this turn. It can attack a number of times up to the number of sunavalon monsters you control. Basically, going for game, basically. So that's pretty cool. That's actually pretty cool. Next up, we have sunavalon Daphne. Link to Earth Plant. 0 attack. Link rays are left and right. 2 plant monsters it requires. Second effect is a once per turn. Its first effect says cannot be targeted for attacks, but it's the same thing. Okay. The other effect says you contribute a monster that target 2 plant link monsters in your grave, except Daphne. Return them to the extra deck. So it's basically a recycler. That's pretty cool. That's actually kind of cool. And then for the continuous spell, we have Sunvine Crossbreed. And this card is a once per turn. You can tribute a link monster and target 1 plant monster in your grave, except the tributed monster, special summon it, but its effects are negated. So it's a monster reborn, but you're negating the effects. So you know what? Not too shabby, but guys, that will do it for this video. Question of the day. Here's today's question of the day. What are your guys' thoughts on the prismatic God Box? I don't know if I brought that up in the past, but what are your thoughts on the prismatic God Box? Let me know in the comments below, and that is going to do it for this video. Friday's video, I will be talking about that new archetype that I brought up. So be sure to stay tuned for that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. And if you guys are new to the channel and you guys love seeing these types of videos for Yu-Gi-Oh! And for WWE, definitely hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you guys don't miss out on any new content that comes your way. And be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. All the links are down in the description. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.